The next letter doesn't start with a vowel, so I'm gonna say the Couch Time
Ooh,
Podcast.
I didn't know that. I'm really glad. I've always been.
Yes, it's
confused
the.
about that.
If the word following the starts with a vowel, you use the. That's why it's the Ohio State, because Ohio starts with an O. So, like, technically, you could do the University of the Cumberlands because university starts with a vowel.
It's not called university. It's called university.
Whatever it is.
It's
The
university.
I was just
Couch Time
making a
Podcast.
point.
We say University of the Cumberlands.
You-
University of the Cumberlands. No, we say University of the Cumberlands.
Yeah, you can't say the because Cumberland starts with a C. Welcome to the Couch Time Podcast, where we give you tools to connect with your kids and point them to Jesus. I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
And there is an elephant above us right now that continues to just stomp on the ceiling. So if you hear any loud booms, we're all okay. My name is Steven. Aaron Barnett is not with us. He wasn't with us last week, wasn't with us this week. He is enjoying some nice vacation time, and we miss him very much, and we love him. But this week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about friendship, about your kids' friendships, about your friendships, about your family, and how you all operate as a team. So the question I have for you gentlemen today is, how did you meet your best friend? Anybody?
All right.
How'd you meet
I'm
your
gonna
best
go.
friend?
So,
Josh was like, I was fighting him in a karate fight. Kicked him in the head.
no. We did have many arguments, though. So I met my best friend, Mark, in middle school. So he was good night.
Jeez.
He was one of the first friends I met when we moved to Kentucky, and he and I eventually, we had a rocky relationship up until about mid high school-ish. So yeah, just kind of, he played keyboard, I played guitar. Worship band stuff, a little bit of
Rivals.
rivalry.
Yeah, dude, keyboards
he
and
led
guitarists.
one band, I led another. It
like
was
Sharks
just
and the
kind
Jets.
of gnarly, but yeah, I mean, we were school stuff, like lot of stuff together. But I met him at Grace Fellowship.
But how did you end up becoming best friends?
Yeah.
It sounds like you just don't like each other.
Well, so honestly, we both repented. So
Oh, wow.
we both were like, man. So actually, I think it really came to a head, if I remember correctly. Mark, you'll have to tell me if you listen to this. But it came to a head when my youth pastor at the time, John Dostal, who's now in the Czech Republic, was called away to seminary, and we're like, oh man, now we're the ones leading the worship bands, and like we can't keep like arguing and going back and forth like this. Like, this is wrong. And so the Lord started to like work on our hearts and just like, all right, we need to stop this petty like going back and forth. And because we had to like confess, ask for forgiveness, like all these different things, it's like the Lord started to work on us. And then I ended up moving on the same street with him for about a year, and like it was really cool. So
nice.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm in an interesting point because I think my best friend is like, it's currently changing actually right now. Like, I kind of was talking about this with
I've been
my
feeling
wife.
that way about you too, Kyle.
Wow, thanks, Steven.
Okay, it's not me.
But I could be. I would like that. No, so I would say, yeah, there's a guy that I've been hanging out with a ton. We went to college together, and I've known him for a while. We've always been in the same friend groups, and so we've always been close. But I feel within like the past year, it's like even just diving deeper and deeper in friendship. We just hang out all the time. We're constantly talking about like what's going on in each other's lives. We're praying for each other. Yeah, and so I'd say what has caused us, why I would consider him my best friend, is I would say he is over the past year, he's the person that knows me the best compared to anyone else.
Yes,
he can
right.
call me out for some stuff like that I don't even realize. I feel like I can call him out, and we're just working through stuff like together. I think that's why Andy is becoming like my best friend recently.
Yeah, that's good.
I have like two different best friends that I met in different ways. So my one best friend, high school, junior year, he was like super popular. I was not. Super cool kid, whatever. And he came to Young Life Camp going into my senior year and ended up getting saved, becoming a believer. And so then our next like year of life, senior year, we were just like so close, hanging out all the time. God changed his life like radically.
That's awesome.
He matured quicker than like anyone I've ever met in my life. And then we were just like doing ministry together. Like we just had friends in common that we were praying for, praying that they would come to know Jesus, going after, hanging out with, like talking to each other, having Bible studies with one another. And our lives were just so close, so connected. And we were like doing ministry together, you know, in high school, that our bond just became very close over 1 year. And then we ended up working at like a summer camp together for a whole summer. And now we still keep in touch and hang out all the time. But even though he doesn't live around here, my other best friend was my roommate in college. And that was like, we didn't talk to each other for months when we first like lived there. And then one night I was just like in a car and he was in a car and someone else was driving us somewhere. And we were just laughing like nonstop, cracking up. It was like, oh, this dude's actually like not weird. He's actually pretty funny. Like, it was like, hey dude, like why have we never hung out? It's like, I don't know. We've just been kind of living together. And then we became best friends and now he's like a brother to me. So
Nice.
That's
crazy. Question. What do you guys think? So for parents out there, the whole idea of this podcast is your kids have friends. You may like them or not like them. Or maybe you wish they had more friends and they don't have any friends and it's like hard to watch them struggle through life without many deep friendships.
Yeah.
So we want to help you all be able to shepherd your kids and what it looks like to make friends, what it looks like to have good friends that are encouraging and helpful to them. As well as just like encourage you all as you're watching your kids go through life, working through the hard mess of friendship. So what do you guys think makes a good friend?
Yeah. I think honesty and transparency is huge. So I think like I remember even just one conversation I had with you and Stephen, you and Aaron one time, and I was just like, man, I feel like our friendship just went to a different level because of this conversation we had, because we were honest and transparent. And the thing, kind of like Kyle, what you were saying, like the reason why I would say that my friend Mark is my best friend is because of the level of just honesty and transparency, but also I think mutual care, like mutual, like I want good for you, sort of thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, what makes a good friend? I think almost the same thing that like we're always called to is like sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, there was a time where like things were just going a lot, and I was like, quote unquote, using all of my like favors. Like I got to call in a favor to my friends, like just things, a lot of things were happening. I just need to call in. And I was like, man, like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I'll do a lot to earn those favors back. And my friend looked at me and was like, there's no limit. Like, I'm not doing this so you'll return the favor. Like, I will always be there for you.
So
I think that's what makes a good friend. Like that sacrifice. Like, I love you. I want what's best for you. So if you need me, I will throw all of it away. And so I think I have a group of guys that like, that's what it's like. Like we will do anything for each other, throw off, you know, whatever's going on, you need help, we're going to be there for each other.
Yeah. And I think friendships like that are sacrificial, that one just like enjoying being together. Like,
absolutely.
Like it's hard to get a friendship. Like, you're probably not going to find a deep friendship like that unless you just like the person. Like, you have to like the person and want to spend time together, enjoy doing things together. And then it becomes like, even if you haven't seen each other in a while, like that deep care is still there, which makes it a deep friendship. But how do you go about like getting there? Like, I think it's great, like once you have a friend like that, but so for parents and their kids, many of them probably don't have friendships like that yet. You're just young and you're developing them. How do you talk to your kids about like how you even develop a friendship like that?
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
I know. I feel like one of the things my dad did with me was he drilled into me what love is, what love really looks like, biblically, and sacrificing and seeing needs and meeting needs like that. There was a lot of that kind of talk, and so like eventually it's like, I mean, that was stuck in my brain. And then like, it was kind of crazy. Like when I heard Pastor Brad talk about love, it was like almost a verbatim same thing that I heard way back in California. And so super cool. But I think talking about love and what love is, and we're not talking about romantic love. It's the like
Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love.
Right, exactly. It's the brotherly, like, you know,
Or like cake. It's not about just like loving cake, but it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, just knowing what love was, and how to go about that was one way. I think my dad actually helped me, set me up to be a good friend to others.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's this kind of duality between of getting friends between like boys and girls. And so like guys, like all of my friendships have come because we did some sort of activity first.
Huge
Like
camaraderie.
I'm not just gonna be like, oh hey man, let's talk about our life. What's up?
Yeah.
But it was like there's blood, sweat, and tears on the football field or sand volleyball or whatever we were doing at that time. Like just that activity forged kind of like a bond, and then from there we were able to like talk about like what's going on, like, oh, where are you from, what's going on. And so I feel like just going and doing activities is friendship. It doesn't have to be like physical. One of my best friends right now, I literally met playing video games online, and now we hang out all the time in person. Like, so we met online, but now like he's about to have a baby, and he's like, I want you guys to like come as soon as you can, like to come meet the baby. And it's all just because like we were doing an activity first. Whereas I feel like girls, like hearing from my wife, it's almost the exact opposite. They're not going to do activities together until they talk and like form a bond that way. So I think one way as a guy to form those friendships is to do an activity, whatever it is, with people. And for the females, it's more of like we talk first, get to know each other, and then want to go do those activities.
I think that's perfectly described, like how any of my friendships have formed. It's like I will feel I hate just like sitting down and talking to people, especially if I don't really know them very well.
Sure. Yeah.
Makes me so uncomfortable. And by know them very well, I mean like have hung out with them, right?
Yes.
Done activities with them. Like then I can like talk. I just think it's like your kids are going to be forming friendships all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's a natural like human instinct probably, or whatever, is that we crave relationships. We crave
we do.
being known. Even if your kid is super introverted and like doesn't have a lot of friends, like they still like are craving that being known by people and having people that like them and care about them. So your kids are going to be trying at least to form friendships. And I think what you're talking about with your dad, like you're saying that he just taught you a lot about love and it talked to you about love. And ultimately you then have to like process through that yourself and then evaluate your relationships in life. And by you, I'm talking to Josh right now. I'm looking at him. So it's like, what I mean by that is that your kids are going to have to process through, like, do I have good friends? Are my relationships good? Like, are these encouraging? Are these like pulling me down? Are these pushing me up? Like, and that can be hard to watch your kids. This is the same conversation with identity that we talked about last week. It can be hard to watch your kids struggle through that. How you can help them is by talking to them about friendships and talking to them about relationships and talking to them about God honoring sacrifice and God honoring love. And then as they begin to grow and they begin to formulate their identity, they begin to formulate friendships, hopefully they're going to remember what you talked to them about. What did it look like to be known by someone? What does it look like to be loved? And they're going to begin to look at their relationships more deeper and think like, is this right? Like, am I being a good friend? Am I like sacrificing? Am I like caring? And I think like one way we can model that, or you all can model that, is in your family. Like you model in your family what hopefully they're going to want to look for in friends. Like if you have a good relationship with your kids and you've loved them and served them and cared for them and wanted and done activities together and wanted to talk, like, then hopefully it's like that's what they're going to want in friends. Even if they're like pushing you off and like being closed off to you, that's like the relationships they're going to look for. So how, like, as a family, like, can parents begin to kind of operate in this idea of like, man, we're modeling good friendship to our kids based upon how we love like each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think. I mean, one of the things you said was just this is less about modeling, but like going back to just the talking about it, like taking advantage of like meal times and car rides and things to like just those natural times where it's like we're together and we can talk. That's huge. But I think another thing is like when you see the different behaviors of a good friend modeled, like calling it out and just like being like, that was awesome how you did that. Like that's what it looks like to be a good friend. And just like when those pictures come up, like that's what it means to be a good friend. Like just calling that out, I think is huge.
And I'd say, Kyle, what you were saying, as family too, as your kids get older, you don't have to force conversation with your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, for example, like what Kyle was talking about, like his friendships have been built out of time together, shared experience together, and then he feels comfortable talking with them.
Yeah.
Your kids, like, if a new person I don't know, like all of a sudden starts asking me like all these questions and like trying to force a conversation with me, I get so uncomfortable. It's like I like you're weird, dude.
Oh,
I
yeah.
talk to you, like please, like stop talking to me right now. And if they continued to talk to me, it would just make me not want to be a friend with them.
Yeah.
So I think like as your kids are getting older, they may push back a little bit on you, and be okay with like not always forcing conversation or forcing like deep questions, and just try to find things that you can enjoy with them.
Yeah.
And enjoy things with them, and let the relationship rebuild, because you're gonna have probably a deep relationship with them. They're a little kid. You're probably going to get pushed back a little bit, and then you're going to have to rebuild a relationship with them, and that's going to take some more time and more experiences and more enjoyment together.
Yeah, I mean, my dad and I, like, the most serious conversations we have are on the golf course. Like, me and my dad, like, I love my parents, I respect my dad, but, like, Steven, you were even kind of talking about this, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder before the podcast. Like, my dad and I's relationship has altered a little bit to be more friendly. Like, it's more of a friend to friend, not so much a father-son. But yeah, I still go to him for wisdom and stuff. But like, we're joking. Like, we're on the golf course, we're joking about stuff. Like, he's let me in on like things that are in his life that like you wouldn't as a father to a son, but more to a peer and peer. And so yeah, and like you just said, you know, your kids are gonna push back against you a little bit, maybe in middle school and high school, and that's okay. Like, that's them. If you listen to the last podcast, forming their identity, and then having to rebuild that relationship, I think is really good. I think that you pointing that out is huge. I think parents, you need to hear that. Like, you're going to have to rebuild your relationship with your kids, not because it's bad, but just because as they're growing and forming who they are, the relationship's probably going to change a little bit.
Right.
And I'd say too, going back to just your kids' friendships, allowing them to have friends, even with people maybe you're not super convinced is going to be a good friendship, and letting them figure it out. Like, protect them, care for them, call things out. You know, if there's people that's like, no, my kid will not hang out with them, like that's okay. But also like, they're going to have to work through some hard friendships probably that aren't super beneficial. And what you can do, and we talked about this off the podcast too, is encourage those relationships to form in your home. Like, encourage those relationships to form or separate at your house. And like, if they're going to hang out with someone you don't really think they should be hanging out with, have them hang out at your house.
Yes.
Like, so
pray.
Yeah. So
oh my word.
Let your home be a place where like your kids feel like they can bring their friends, feel like even their friends that maybe are a little rougher can come. And ultimately, if you have kids that friends are a little rougher, I would hope that you would rather them be rougher like at your house than not at your house.
Right.
So I know my parents, like, they did a fantastic job with that. I had a friend in middle school who was very far from the Lord, and he didn't influence me negatively. Like, I like really, really deeply loved this kid, but he was always at my house, and my parents knew everything about what he was doing, everything about the type of kid he was, and him and I had a deep friendship. But I knew that he was welcome at my home. Like, it wasn't going to be weird if I like, I have to like secretly hang out with this kid. It's like, no, like he can come over here and hang out with my family, and it'd be a great time, and them not like judge him or like make him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
I would just say like one of the things I can imagine for parents would be very difficult is, so you love your kid. I can, if you're listening to this podcast, I can almost guarantee you love your kid. And when your kid is around other students who maybe you're like, make you a little nervous, it can cause fear.
Yeah.
And when you're afraid,
Hopefully.
like when you're afraid, a lot of times that can lead to wanting to control the situation. I would just encourage, especially the older your student gets, to act more like a coach and trying to like, instead of just trying to control the situation and like almost like quarantine the situation too soon.
See what you did there.
Instead of doing that, trying to coach them and encourage, but again, like we just said, pray, because only God can change hearts. Only God can give these epiphanies and open eyes. So pray your heart out to see what the Lord would do in that situation.
Yeah.
This is another, like, all of these things that we talk about on the podcast normally are pretty, like, long game minded. Like,
Yes.
you're going to have to stay long game minded. And your kid is a soul who
Yes.
is, like, growing up and forming. Right. And that's like a very long game you're playing here.
Yeah.
So I would just encourage you all to continue to have the long game in mind. Continue to, help them form their identity, help them see what love is, help them see who they are in Christ, help them see your life, and give them more and more open view into your life as the older that they get, and just help walk with them. And they're gonna fail, they're gonna mess up, they're gonna make friendships, they're probably gonna go down some roads that you like wish they wouldn't go down, but keep praying and keep seeking the Lord, and being just all faithful in knowing that the Lord is in control of what's going to happen with your child.
Yeah.
And that's really, really hard when you see them making decisions and friendships that you wish they weren't making. But just keep praying and keep trusting Him that He has good things in mind. Last thing, friendships are important. I hope you all have friends or are trying to develop friendships either with your spouse or with other people. And knowing that we all need friends that can pick us up when we're down, that can encourage us when we're weak, and hopefully you as a family are beginning to develop friendships with each other, so that your kids know what a good friendship looks like because they've seen it modeled in their own home.
Yeah.
So that's all we have. We're running out of time, but Kyle, will you pray us out of here? Pray for parents as they shepherd their kids.
I sure will. Just one thing, though, I wanted to add. I'm actually reading a book right now called The Company We Keep, which is all about friendships and biblical friendships. So if you want to check it out, it's called The Company We Keep, and it's by Jonathan Holmes. So far, it's been pretty good. So I just wanted to – I haven't read it all. I can't give you a full book report. But so far, it's been good, and I thought maybe you guys might want to check it out.
Good shout out. Love that.
Love it.
All right. Hey, God. Thank you so much that you call us friend, that you allow us to be in relationship with you. I pray for these guys here as we have friendship with each other, trying to build the student ministry towards you, Lord. I just pray for the kids that they seek friends that point them to you as well, Lord, that their friends want, kind of like Josh said, what's best for them, that they sacrifice for the good of each other, Lord. And I pray for the parents as they raise these kids and have their kids might have friends that they don't like or are afraid of, Lord, that they just pray for those friends of their students and just love on them like you have loved us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.